gamers, good day. Welcome. Today, the beginnings of our GUI. This is a tough lesson, so buckle up and pay attention. Anyways, so we need to have a way for like we did all this stuff with like health system. So right now it just kind of displays like on the console, here's how much health you have left. That's not very good. We need to use a GUI or GUI, graphical user interface. It's going to have some visuals that aren't actually in the game, but display information about the game. So let's get started. So we're going to be utilizing Unity's new sort of like GUI builder. So we're going to go ahead, select your assets folder, right click, create, and then we're going to go here to where it says UI toolkit and then UI document. We're going to name this game UI, capital G, capital U, capital I. Okay. So what's going to be a little bit confusing is that we are going to be kind of like going back and forth between kind of what's called the UI builder and the regular Unity editor. Unity is sort of like what we use to build games and like games in general. And then the UI sort of builder is going to be just for those visual elements that aren't actually part of the game, but only display information about the game. Okay, how much health you have, like if it's a game like Doom, what weapons you have available, how many bullets, that kind of stuff, what level. Okay, so we're going to double click on this. It's going to bring us up to a new screen. This is kind of like a editor within an editor. This is going to be just for this GUI that we're going to be building, just for the visual elements. So we're going to first of all start off. We're going to click on game UI dot UX, sorry, dot UXML. Okay, it just rolls off the tongue. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to make sure where it says match game view. We want to make sure that is selected. Canvas background is selected, and then I like to have a color set as well. You don't have to. It's just going to make it a little bit easier to see like what you're actually doing, like when it comes to this, like these visual elements. Okay. So now, and this is kind of a similar kind of like relationship. We have a hierarchy. Okay, as far as like all the things that are part of our sort of like visual information system. And then down here, we have like almost like a library of things that we can add. Well, we're going to add what's called a visual element. So we're going to click and drag here. All right. And then we're going to select that visual element. Okay. And let me just like kind of minimize all these again, because these are what we'll be working with, but I want to kind of not be overwhelming. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a kind of like an asset for the background frame of our health system. So we're going to go ahead to where it says background. Okay. So the background, we're going to click on the triangle for background. And where it says image, we're going to select right initially it's set to texture. We're going to change it to sprite. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick a sprite. Okay. So we're going to click on that little circle next to none and to the left of sprite. And we are going to now, at this point, I'm going to type in the word frame. And this is going to bring us the three kind of like built-in health bar frames, like for the like kind of three styles of games that the assets kind of support. So we've got Ruby is this first one, the Sugarland one, and then Ducko all day. Ducko, he's our man. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll just double click on that. Okay. So we're beginning to make some movement. So but we have to do a few things first. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and change it so that, look, when it comes to, we're going to be changing the size of this, because like if this is going to be, if the blue is a representation of what the kind of gamer is going to see as far as their view, it doesn't make sense to have a health bar take up the majority of it. So we're going to resize it, but we need to work with some settings first to make it so that when we resize it, it looks good. Okay. So let's go ahead then. We're going to go to where it says flex. And then where it says grow, we're going to set that to 0. Cool. All right. And it's going to disappear. Oh no. Okay. If it disappears, which it should, we're going to go ahead to where it says size. And then where it says width and height, we're going to change both of these to percentages. And we're going to set them to 50 and then 50. And it's going to come back. Excellent. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save this. Okay. So where it says we're going to go here to file and then save. Okay, so and what we can do is we can either close this or just add this as a tab. No, I'm gonna close it. We'll close it. We'll come back to it. Make sure you save it and then you can close it. We're gonna come back now to the editor. Okay, so the regular Unity editor, a place of safety stuff. We know what's going on here. We're going to now add a game object that's going to reference that thing we just built. So let's go ahead here to our project hierarchy. Okay, sorry, scene hierarchy, excuse me. We're going to do a right click. We're going to go here to UI toolkit and then UI document. All right, we don't need to change the name of it. And then where it says here source asset, we're going to click on the little kind of like bubble there. There's only one option, that game UI we built, and now it's sort of in our game. Now, for you, you probably are on your scene tab, so and you won't see it. And this is actually a good thing to sort of understand is that like the it's not part of the scene. It's kind of like a separate thing. Okay, so that's good. So we need to change, as sort of we were saying before, like this is way too big, but we need to make sure that like when we resize it, it scales properly, it looks good. So this is confusing. We're to be kind of going back and forth between the Unity editor and the GUI editor. So let's go ahead. We're going to double click again, assets, game UI. We're going to double click on game UI to come back to just the editor. Okay. Select where it says visual element. And one thing I forgot to do is this should just be, we should name this. Okay, so we're going to call this health bar background. Okay, health bar background. I forgot about that. Health bar background, because that's going to be important down the road. Then what we'll do is we're going to go back to our background sort of like setting for this. Okay, and then where it says scale mode, we're going to select this button here where it says scale to fit. All right. And now we're going to come back. This is again confusing. Let's go here to file save. Let's close the UI builder. We're going to go to the UI document in our like scene hierarchy. We're going to click on where it says here panel settings. We'll double click on that. Okay, so again, UI document, panel settings, double click. This is going to basically again alter when I'm changing, when I'm scaling something with just a visual like script, not visual scripting, with visual elements for the GUI. It's going to govern this. So where it says here, we're going to where it says scale mode, make sure it's set to scale at screen size, screen match mode, match width or height, and then the reference resolution we're going to set to 1920 by 1080. Okay, last thing, panels. Now we're going to go back to our assets folder, double click on game UI. It's going to bring us back to our sort of like visual editor. I'm just going to change the size of this because now, and then make sure you're set in game mode. I'm going to click on I just clicked on it in sort of our editor here, and then I'm going to just change the size of it. And you see, it's kind of like changing there. I think there's no right or wrong answer here as to what you think the appropriate size is. For me, that looks good. Whew. Big lesson, folks. Oh yeah, of course, save. Big lesson. Kind of difficult, but I know you got it. I wish you the best of luck. Great stuff, my dudes.